Hey, welcome everybody back to the Listen Up podcast, home of Room for Trapper Barnes. How are you, my friend?
Good, brother. How are you?
Man, I'm fantastic. The thing that I love about Room for Up is it's always changing, it's always growing. We talk about upisms, one or two
Yeah.
word phrases that kind of focus people, focus us on how to make change in our life. And this episode, I want to talk about a new one,
Oh.
one that you created on the spot. And the second that you said it, I knew it was something that we needed to share with our millions of listeners. And
We
it's
have
Suit
two. We have two.
Up. It's Suit Up.
Suit up.
And yeah, Suit Up. And so, guys, let me just give you a little background. So, in the last few weeks, we were honored to be asked to speak at a conference, and the topic of inaction. What is the price of not taking action? Came up, and you were the lucky one on stage that got to answer that question. And the story that you told, I know it inspired the audience. I was sitting there like, my hands were shaking because you used the term suit up. And so I was hoping that you would share with our audience today the price of inaction, because we've talked a lot over these past weeks and months about you can get all the information that you need. There's more resources today than there's ever been in the history of mankind. But if you don't take action, where's the value? What's it worth?
Well, I shared a quote with you and Tiffany the other day, and I think it said, I'm going to butcher it, but it said, a plan without action is just a daydream, and then a plan with action was, I forget. I'll go find it here in a minute, but it was pretty powerful. Like, especially, it's up to you.
Well, it's true. A plan without action is a daydream.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to take action if you want anything to change.
Yeah.
So, what is the price of inaction? Whether that's physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, what's the price of doing nothing?
Well, that's pretty heavy. Like, the price of doing nothing means you're going to stay in the same place in whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, what those 7 factors, right?
Yeah.
If you choose to do nothing, it's kind of like the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Yeah. You've shared with me many times, and I don't want to butcher it, so I'll ask that you share it with our audience. But
I'm not sure I remember.
Oh, you will. You will. So you talk about don't confuse action.
Yeah, don't confuse movement with action.
Ah.
Don't confuse movement with action. And here's the reason why. Because I can run in place and not get anywhere.
Yeah, but you're so busy. Life's so busy. We've got to be going somewhere, right?
Well,
feels that way, doesn't it?
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends. Because if you just run in place all the time, you feel like, okay, I'm doing something, right? I'm moving in a direction of some purpose, but yet I'm still here.
Yeah. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking about times in my life where I've that's exactly where I've been. I'm moving, but I'm not getting anywhere. I'm sitting in my mind trying to think of an example of that. And here's what I thought. Spend weeks and weeks and months reading self-help books or listening to this podcast or that podcast, but not applying what I've learned. So I'm busy. I'm moving. I'm just remaining in place.
So the biggest, we help a lot of people.
Sure.
We try to inspire our teams.
Yeah.
other friends that have businesses, entrepreneurs, right? And the biggest failure, and I'm going to call it a failure, the biggest failure people have is not doing anything. You can go spend all the money you want on a special conference to go to learn stuff. You can get a private coach to come into your home or your business and teach you how to do this. But the problem is nobody takes action. And that's the biggest, that is the downfall to society.
Why is that? Like, why have we, you and I, in our life, had moments where we didn't take action? Why, you know, the self-help arena is so huge,
Yeah.
and it's growing. So if it were working, it would be shrinking, right? Like more people would be getting help, and everybody would get exactly what they want. So why do so many people that are interested in getting better not take action? What is it? What's driving the inaction?
I think they get distracted.
Okay.
People get distracted by a multitude of things.
Yeah.
Maybe your phone, maybe your circle,
Sure.
maybe some people are just scared to say, let's start. And because they either don't know how or they're scared to know the result.
Yeah. You know what? You just said the word scared twice. And I think there's a reason why. I think fear. I think fear is a huge driver in inaction.
Fear is the number one thing that our society is scared of.
Yeah.
In anything we do.
Two questions. Why are we so afraid? And then the second would be, what are we afraid of?
Well, I said it a while ago. I think to answer your first question, people just, they don't really want to know the truth.
Yeah.
And sometimes the truth slaps you in the face and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
The second part to that is fear of loss.
Yeah. Loss of
money,
loss
of
prestige.
time, loss of prestige.
Yeah. You know, the thing I think that's driven the most fear in me over my life as we're sitting here talking and I'm thinking about it? Ego. Fear of how I'm going to look to others. What will they think? And the reality is, for more than about 5 seconds, they probably ain't going to think anything if they do at all.
Here's what I figured out. Who cares? Who cares what people think? Yeah. Do I want to be viewed in a inspirational, like motivating leader, good person? Yeah. But sometimes as men and a society, we let our ego tell the story.
Yeah. And as we're talking, we've let our ego lead to fear. Fear of what? The fear of the opinions of others. And it reminds me of a really cool quote. Can't tell you where I saw it, but I know I've seen it in the last couple of weeks. And it was, why would I care about the opinion of someone I wouldn't even ask their advice?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. There's a handful of people, my circle.
Yeah.
I care about their opinion.
Yeah.
I was intentional about bringing them into my circle because I wanted their opinion.
Yep.
I've never not done something. Inaction has never been a result of that circle. Inaction for me has always been about those outside the circle. Historically, if I'm looking back over the decades of my life. And how backwards is that? You told a story. It was so good. We were on stage. And well, that was fun, wasn't it?
That was a blast.
That was a blast.
Had a good time. You know what? That's a great question.
That is a great question. That's a great question.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that later.
Sorry, squirrel.
Yeah, that's okay. Squirrel. But you told a story. In fact, it was the last question. It was what's the ultimate price of inaction? And you said something, and I'll let you tell the story. But you talked about a game. You talked about a game.
Yeah.
You said inaction is like not suiting up.
Not suiting up. Look, here's the thing. You can want to play the game, but sometimes you got to get your hands dirty. Sometimes you got to make sure that you're, on the right field or in the right position, or with the right mindset. Like, you can't win standing on the sideline.
Yeah. And to your point, you said that inaction is like the game of a lifetime is going on right in front of you. And instead of getting in there,
You're over there.
you choose to stand on the sideline. Like you don't even play the game.
Yeah.
And you know what, brother?
It is the fear. It's
the fear of fumbling.
It's the scarcity of losing.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be remembered. I mean, the Chiefs don't want to be remembered that they didn't win 3 in a row and get, drilled the other night on the football team or football game. So nobody wants to lose. How fun is that?
It's not.
So instead of winning or learning, people don't even play the game.
Well, this would be my encouragement. So whether you're listening to us on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're at, driving down the road in your office, this would be my encouragement to those that are listening to us. The game is going to go on and be played regardless of whether you're on the sideline or on the field.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun on the field. Sometimes you're ahead, sometimes you're behind, but you're in the game.
If you want to have influence, you have to suit up.
You got to suit up to have a chance. Well, guys, here's what we encourage you to do. Suit up. The game's worth it. Regardless of whether you win or whether you learn, the important thing is you played.
That's right. That's right.
I'm reminded of one of my favorite quotes by Zig Ziglar, because sometimes people are just afraid to step on the field.
Yeah.
And I think this will be a great place to end.
Okay.
So, guys, before I share this with you, please don't forget to hit the notifications button, like, follow. We are so grateful for the time that we get to spend with you. Grateful for the time I get to spend with you, my friend.
Absolutely.
But Zig Ziglar said it best. He said, you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start if you want to be great.
Yeah.
So, guys, suit up, get in the game, be great, and be back here for our next episode. Listen Up Podcast. Remember, there's always room for up. Have a great week, buddy.
See you.